Oh, my amazing artists. I cannot tell you how excited I am to see you. Has this been like the longest 2 weeks of your life or what? I just don't know what to do with myself anymore. I have weeded and mowed the lawn and planted trees and painted walls and done everything I can think of around my house. But I'm super excited that I can now take some time to do some lessons with you all that I feel like you can do right at home. You don't need the art room, you don't need some fancy studio or fancy art supplies. I'm going to teach you a lesson that you can do today with the stuff you have lying around your house. So what we're going to do is we're going to be learning about a technique called experimental gesture drawing. Okay, that's a whole bunch. Let's slow down and talk about what experimental gesture drawing is. So what is experimental gesture drawing? Well, it's really not that complicated. So an experiment is when you try something new for the first time, something you haven't done before. Gesture, well, that's a hand movement that you make, kind of like sign language. And drawing, well, drawing's drawing. So experimental gesture drawing is when you use hand gestures to draw in a whole new way. Okay, I really hope your mind's not blown and that makes sense. Let's actually put this to practice. So what you're going to need today are very simple items that you should have lying around your house, and if not, maybe it's something somehow you could find this week. The most important tool we're going to be using are gel pens. Now, gel pens have kind of a gel instead of ink, and they flow really, really well because they have the little balls in the tips. Now, you don't necessarily have to have red. You can have any color you want. I just happen to have red laying around my house, and I'm using red gel pens. You could also use just a standard black or blue ballpoint pen. You just don't want to be using crayons or markers or anything like that, or pencils. Gel pens are what you need. Aside from that, you can literally find almost any small object around your house that you're going to be drawing. I just went around and pulled up some drawers and went in my little boy's room and found some crazy things like a wrench, a Tyrannosaurus Rex, pair of sunglasses, a Lego figurine, and I even found this lobster. Now, you don't need a whole bunch of things. You only need 2 or 3 items. So go and collect those items. You can pause the video now. Go find 2 or 3 small items. When I say small, you should be able to fit them in your hand. If you go and get your gigantic teddy bear off your bed, it's probably a little bit too big. You need something small that you can place right in front of your drawing area. And the last thing you'll need is just some plain white paper. Now, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. I have some big paper because I would like to film a larger area, but if you just can get some printer paper or the back of an envelope even, you could practice this activity on. So you need to get your gel pens, you need to go get a small item that you can draw, and then go and get your white paper. And I'll see you back here in a minute. Okay, I hope you have your items. I've got mine, and I think we are ready to get started on probably the coolest lesson you're gonna do this week. All right, so I can't draw all 3 of those items at the same time. So I'm gonna choose maybe one that I want to practice with. I'm gonna set the glasses aside because I feel like that's gonna be really hard. I'm gonna wait until I've practiced some and then try that later. The Lego man, he's awfully small. I'm gonna wait until I've practiced. I'm gonna start with something that's just very simple. I'm gonna start with this wrench. Okay, so I'm gonna put my wrench in my work area, and then I have my gel pen. And what I wanna do is I wanna begin to think like an artist, and an artist is gonna think about space. Okay, so if I have one small wrench, I may not want to make a wrench this big in the middle of my paper. I might want to either make a gigantic wrench or several wrenches that are arranged in different areas. Now, the tricky part about experimental gesture drawing is that we don't just get to make straight lines. Now, it would be easy to trace this wrench and get a perfect shape of the wrench, but that's cheating. That's not experimental gesture drawing. We're going to be experimenting by trying something that we haven't done before, and normally what we do all the time is we make straight lines. We are not going to be making any straight lines. Today's gesture that we're going to practice is curling. So all of my movements, whether big curls or itty bitty little are going to look like this. So my gesture is going to be circles or curly lines, and I'm gonna be doing all of my drawing like this. Now the first thing I wanna do is decide where I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna get started right here in the middle. And I would like to look at from a perspective. I'm gonna angle that so I can have a good look at it. And I'm just gonna begin with the back side of my wrench. I'm gonna make that circle in the back. And notice that I'm just making lots and lots of little curly lines. Okay, once you're happy with the shape of your circle, you can begin to work on what looks like a hexagon because there are 6 different sides to that. And you can see I'm just trying to get the shape. Now there are some artists that do some type of artwork, I'm not sure what it's called, where they never lift their pen off the paper. Don't feel like you have to do that. That's not what this lesson's about. Feel free to lift up your pen as many times and jump around wherever you need to. This does not have to be one continuous line. That is a type of artwork, and that is something you could try on your own. All right, so I feel like that looks good right there. Next, I'm gonna work on this. This is a little bit more complicated. It looks like a circle, but it has this part cut out of it. So I'm gonna come and just kind of get that rounded shape. If drawing's not your thing, you don't have to be a really good drawer to be able to do this. Because nothing is perfect here, we're not doing perfect lines, or just doing a lot of scribbles, basically. It's very easy for anyone to be able to do this. And I'm going to quickly fill in the rest just to give it some depth. Now, 4th and 5th grade, we really pay attention to form and shadows. I can see there's some shadow in here, and shadow in here. So to see that shadow, all I have to do is do some darker. The more tight I do my, I can't even think of what I'm trying to say right now. The more tightly I make my little curly lines, spiral lines, the darker it gets, and it looks like I'm adding depth to it. I can also do that here, and it's giving it a 3D look. All right, so I'm pretty happy with the way this has come out. I do see some shadow right there, so I might even add some of that in there. So I still have lots of space. What I'd like to do is I'd like to make several of these wrenches, maybe going at different angles and different sizes. Now you can overlap if you want to. So I'm going to draw another wrench, but I want to make it smaller, and that's really, really challenging. You're going to be stretching your mind to draw something that's the same but different sizes. So I'm going to start a little bit smaller. And add some of your form and shape to make it look like somewhat 3D. Okay, so there's another smaller wrench, and maybe I want to do one more. I'm going to do one gigantic one. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to have it going this direction. So I'm going to start off by having a large handle. And again, this does not need to be pretty, okay? You can start off, just get the basic shape that you're looking for, and then later on you can refine it. Oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot to put in my angles here to make it look like it's a hexagon. Okay, so, because I noticed that on this one, I'm gonna need to turn this into a hexagon. All right, so this is the bottom part of my wrench, and I'm gonna have it going clear across this way. So notice it's definitely a lot larger than my original. And now I'm going to start to have it go this way. So I'm gonna just start from where I think my handle's going to end. I'm gonna come this way. Okay, I noticed that it's going to start to widen a little bit, so I'm gonna actually have it get a little bit bigger this way, a little bit bigger this way. And now what I wanna do is make my head. So I'm going to actually start, I think I'm gonna start and make the inside first. Okay, so I have the basic shape. Now I really just want to pay attention to details. So I really want to look at the details in here. I can see from the reflection of the light above me, there's a nice clean white reflecting line right here. I can't have it clean and white, but what I can do is just have that rounded shape, and then I can have some darkness that is going around it, some depth. So I'm going to be adding some shadows by making some smaller rivets. I'm sorry, rivets. Some smaller spirals. I'm keeping it light, that way it looks like this one, large one, is behind my original. My eyes automatically focus on this as the center one because it's darker, has more emphasis. I'm intentionally not putting all that much detail into this one and not making it nearly as dark because I don't want to distract from my original one that I put all that time into. Now I do want to pay attention down here to the end. I feel like it's worth noticing that we definitely need to have that, that hexagon going on in here. So I'm going to make that straight side. So this is my example of experimental gesture drawing using just a simple wrench. I'll show you some other things that I drew. Before I showed you the glasses. So from the glasses, I made that one. Also, the little Lego guy, I drew him from different perspective. I drew him laying down, looking down from a top perspective, and then also just his face blown up. And then my favorite, which took a little bit longer, was this guy. Now he's got a lot of details. I wouldn't do something crazy like this guy until way later, but I did take him and spent some time working on my lobster, and you can see different perspective. Here's my original, and then I have a larger one, I have a tiny one, and then just one aspect of the claw right here. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope this is something new that you can enjoy doing. Again, you don't have to be an experienced artist to be able to do experimental gesture drawing. All right, guys, I'm gonna sign off here. I really hope to just be able to see some of your artwork. I'd love for your parents to share it with me. You can definitely your parents can send me something through the email. My teacher email is ty.suts@colquitt.k12.georgia.us. I'd love to see some of your artwork. And then also feel free to show your stuff online. If you have social media, your parents have social media, let them show off your artwork. It'd be awesome to see to show the community what you guys are doing at home while we're doing the distance learning. And then finally, I hope to see you guys again next week to do another awesome lesson.